The treachery and the rolling around on the floor continues. So it's now time for a little upper body workout before the rain comes in, and it's the first one in 12 days since the crash. I have had quite a little bit of pain in the upper kind of torso, especially around the lat muscle area here, and also in the arm, which was very bruised and swollen. The swelling and the bruising is gone. There is still a bit of pain here, but hoping everything's going to be okay. I'm going to start with the raised off the ground press up and see where I'm at. So apart from a few rather disconcerting little clicks on the left limb there, for the initial 3 or 4 reps, all was okay. And now to see where the rotating pull-up is. So having gingerly experimented with both the rotating pull-up and the press-up, I think all's okay. Well, rain stopped play in the end, but I did complete 3 supersets with the reps gradually dropping from 6 down to 4 on the rotating pull-up and 9 down to 6 on the press-up. So I'm going to work a little bit on flexibility here, have another crack at the squat position, and see if I can get a sort of a bit more depth and a bit more of an upright and straight back. We'll see. Trying to keep knees out over the toes, trying to get the chest up and just let the muscles relax. It may not look it, but that actually did represent a little bit of progress on early on in the week. And now to rebuild a little bit of strength through the glute and the hamstring, the quad, and obviously the abs. Once again with a single leg Romanian deadlift, not increasing the weight, looking for a better quality of rep. I had a little bit more depth, especially on that left leg. Well, I got to say, just having looked at the replay there, the quality of the reps were not night and day better than the ones earlier on in the week. They probably were a little bit more stable and the range of motion was a tiny bit better. So I'll take whatever progress I can bank while coming back from injury, but plenty more to work on. I've been an enthusiastic adopter of single leg movements for many years because they build strength and stability evenly without using heavy weights, and can also be used to identify imbalance or one-sided weakness. And correctly here, I've identified the need to rebuild stability and flexibility post-accident. However, as you'll see in just a second, I can report that this is not the optimal movement so soon into the rebuild. While stability is low, it's much better to initially remediate from a much more stable base with both feet planted firmly on the floor. Time to call it a day, I think. Lucky there, didn't give way. It was just musculature pain and it just said enough. So yeah, that was quite strange actually. Never had that happen before. Got it on camera though, so quite interesting. I'll have a look at the replay. Well, in the name of science, I do love a little experiment. So today I'm going to have a go at a 3 p.m. race. So a little bit later than my usual morning slot for a Zwift race, but not too far off what you do for an afternoon crit outdoors. And therefore, again in the name of science, I'm going to have a real proper go at a big old carb up. And with that in mind, look what Jane has procured from Bermondsey Street. Time for the pre-race weigh-in. And so that's after all the French bread and all the liquid and all that kind of stuff. Just going to have the pre-race shake, which is going to be fast digesting carbohydrates, just already made it up, and a little bit of coffee, 150 milligrams. I'll probably have a full fat Coke mid-race as well. And now to the Wattbike. As ever, Very nervous, always very nervous, particularly nervous today because obviously just coming back from the leg injury. I had a little warm up 10 a.m. on the Bologna course. There happened to be a TT there, so just made sure that the leg was okay and everything was working well. All was good, so now I just need to get everything set up. Well, relief. It turned out to be a decent race. The left leg held up well. I thought I was having 2 ascents up the Bologna climb. It turned out only to be 1, so I actually held back a tiny little bit on the first climb there. And then in the final kind of 500 meters, it was a pretty good sprint, you know, a very good sprint for me actually, you know, 507 watts for 1 minute power. That's just a couple of watts below my personal best. And I was pipped into 3rd place there by Radislaw, who had a really amazing race, but overall very, very happy. P3, 2nd on Zwift Power if you are a Zwift Power aficionado. Look at this. We've got ants. The sun brings them out, but the rain also brings them in this time of year. So anyway, on the deck this morning, colour coordinated. It's going to be another upper body training session. Trying to just make small improvements on the rotating pull up and the press up, and then a bike training. So the cold coffee, 150 milligrams of caffeine from a scoop of that, and the amino acids are on the deck. So the ants, Grim Reaper, Simon Hill and myself have all been watching Corinne, the Mountain Goat Black, undertake a ride for pride. And it's a very unusual course. It's 100 miles, that's 160 kilometers all around, and I kid you not, the volcano loop. I mean, that's, well, hell knows how many laps of the volcano loop. Anyway, nice one, Corinne. So back with the same superset, this time aiming for 7 to 8 of the paused rotating pull-ups. The pause at the bottom takes the kinetic energy out of the movement, makes it a little bit harder, really focuses on the mind-muscle connection to get the lats and the biceps working. Then up the stairs to complete the slight incline press up. Once again, the incline increases the range of motion, makes it a little bit harder to complete the rep, and the pause at the bottom again makes me focus on initiating the movement with the chest and the tricep muscles. One rep extra on the first, so probably, you know, 4 or 5 supersets. Set 2 coming. Probably won't film it because it is quite boring to watch, but at least you see the level of persistence that is basically my approach to life. So the 6th and the 10th there, super slow. You could have probably carbon dated the start and the end of each rep. I think I'm going to do the bike training now. Call it a day on 3. 15:11. Just coming to the foot of the forward KOM at Watopia. About to commence Ed's 30-30s. It's 13 intervals of 30-30, 2 blocks of 13 with 5 minutes recovery between each, and each 30-second sprint is at 130 to 133% of FTP, i.e. 390 to 400 watts for me. I'm going to go on 16 minutes. Now, 30 seconds recovery at 160, 12 more to go before 5 minutes recovery. I'll report back.
26, 50. 2 more 30-second sprints to go in the first block. Is unlucky. I'm going to do a 14. Oh, 5 minutes recovery, then 12 or 14 more. Really having trouble with my gears at the moment. It's really irritating. I'm going to have to call out service. 44.50. Number 10 in block 2. Now, and if you like the pain pace, please remember to like and subscribe. Number 11 coming. 2 more. One's going for 14. Oh dear, that was a struggle today. See how fast the heart rate comes down. Had one of those in between blocks. Otherwise I was fasted on just the amino acids, cold coffee and water. Heart rate's come down nicely. About 2 minutes there, I guess. 1:56. About a minute, sorry. 1:55. Okay, I'll report back in a minute.
Well, in all honesty, I wasn't really feeling it today, including the upper body strength training upstairs, and that's why I cut it short at just 3 supersets. And turning to the bike, again, it was a bit of a struggle, but I did manage to gut it out. And I got 2 decent quality blocks of training in there. 14 30-second sprints in those blocks of 30-30s. And here's a Training Peaks data for the first of the blocks. It took 13 minutes, 30 seconds to complete it. Average power 302 watts, normalized 320 watts. And then turning to the second block, pretty consistent. Again, over the 13 minutes 30. Average power 290 watts, normalized power 313 watts. I think that's because I was a little bit more enthusiastic in the recovery, in the 30-second recoveries, because I think I was definitely hitting the kind of 390, really 420 watt range in those 30-second sprints. A full rest day tomorrow. I'm not going to bother with zone 2. I like to take a complete day off the bike, a complete day away from strength training, let the body really recuperate and recover. And I've just looked at the training plan for next week. It does look really intimidating. More of that to come. Time for another instalment of full gas greens consumption. 1 scoop, 650 millilitres precisely. Careful to avoid the spillage. $650 mils of goodness now. Start the timer. Done. Nothing left there. Oh, I'll clean it up. I will clean it up. And now the excitement's high here, once again in Bakery Corner. Another instalment of lemon drizzle cake for the taste test.